Oh, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. APW Sports signing in, and I'm not going to make this long. It is time to give my power rankings after the first week in the NFL season, heading into week 2. But without further ado, let's dive into it. We're going to start with the Arizona Cardinals, and just how I thought they would look, not a very good team, even though they kept the game with the Commanders close. It's just not a very good football team right now, and I just don't know what to say about this team. They're probably going to have the number 1 overall pick. Who knows? Next, the Atlanta Falcons coming off a win against the Carolina Panthers. I am probably going to put the Atlanta Falcons. I'm probably going to put it at I'm probably going to put them at a C for the moment. Or, you know what, I'm going to move them up to a B. Even though Desmond Ridder wasn't spectacular, they got the job done. Bijan Robinson looked crazy good. And I just believe that this Falcons team, if Desmond Ridder can get that situation, the quarterback right, they can be competitive in the NFC South division. Defense played well too. Make Bryce Young look like the rookie that he is. So I'm going to put the Falcons at a B. Next is the Baltimore Ravens. I'm going to keep them at an A tier. Offensively, they look solid. Now, losing J.K. Dobbins for the year, again, does hurt this football team. But defensively, this team looked a lot better than what I expected on the defensive side of the ball with Roquan Smith and Humphrey and those boys. I really thought that they look better on that side of the ball. Offensively, we know what the running game can be. Lamar Jackson looks solid as a passer, even though it was against the Texans. But you still have to come out and perform, so I'm going to give them an A. Next is the Buffalo Bills. It's hard for me, especially how the game looked last night. I'm going to have to drop them. And the main reason I'm dropping them is Josh Allen is still turnover prone. I love Josh Allen. He's probably one of my favorite quarterbacks to watch in the league. But the problem is he turns the football over too much. That was a problem last year. And he started off with 3 picks to Jordan Whitehead. And on top of those 3 picks, he fumbled the football that he ended up losing. So the turnovers are good. It's just proven not to be great. Now on the defensive side of the ball, with the Aaron Rodgers injury, of course, afterwards. And then on top of that, you have a guy like a Jordan Phillips. They went down for the Bills. But their defense looks solid as well. So I'm going to have to put them at the A tier just for the moment, mainly because of the turnovers. Josh Allen has to get that correct. Carolina Panthers, they are who they thought they were. Bryce Young, still developing. They have a lot of pieces. It's just, I think this is still a very developing football team at this point. With all of the changes that they've made over the last year, still a developing football team. Now, I could put them at a C, but it's just a very young team. The Bears, after that, D. I shouldn't even have to explain myself after that game. That was an absolute catastrophe. Absolute catastrophe. I don't even want to talk about it too much more. Go watch my reaction video to that game. Next is the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm going to drop them to an A tier. Offensively, they couldn't get nothing done, even though Joe Burrow didn't play much. Actually, didn't play at all during preseason. Defensively, they had their hiccups. They didn't look too bad, but offensively, they looked atrocious. This Bengals team does have a tendency to start slow. The last 2 years, they have gotten off to slow starts, but they did end up at the Super Bowl 2021 and the AFC Championship game, almost winning that in 2022. So I'm not going to sit there and panic about the Bengals, but starting off slow is something that they do. But if this continues, then I'm going to hit the panic button. Next is the Cleveland Browns. I'm going to put them at a B tier. Deshaun Watson looks solid. Their defense, Myles Garrett looked like the player of the year candidate that I personally think he's going to be. So I'm going to put the Cleveland Browns at a B tier right now. Next is the Dallas Cowboys. The way they looked, I'm going to put an S tier. Even though Dak wasn't spectacularly great, that defense just showed exactly what the expectations we have for him coming in. And Micah Parsons, this defense is just special. I believe it's going to be a very special defense for the Cowboys. Offensively, they ran the football well. They got things together, so I'm going to put them in the S tier as much as they hate me to do it. Next is the Denver Broncos. I'm going to put the Broncos at a C tier. They got the win. Actually, they didn't get the win. They did look a lot better. I will say that. They did look a lot better offensively. The Raiders, against them, they were able to do some things defensively, but I think I'm going to put the Broncos at a C for now. I think they should have went in that ball game and actually beat the Raiders. Next is the Detroit Lions. I'm going to put the Lions at an A tier. We know they played the Chiefs without Chris Jones and Kelsey, but Jared Goff, mistake-free football. That defense is very much improved from what they saw in 2022. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, that emotional type of guy that they needed. Aiden Hutchinson was creating problems for Jawan Taylor for the Chiefs at the tackle position. So this defense is just dramatically improved from what they were in 2022. And offensively, they were able to run the football very well. Jared Goff played mistake-free football. They have receivers. So I'm going to put them at an A tier. Next is the Green Bay Packers. I'm putting them at a B. Now, of course, I'm not just saying it was the Bears fan just because they played the Bears, but they made Jordan Love, they got situations to make Jordan Love look very comfortable in his first opening day start. That defense for the Green Bay Packers was always something that was a very solid defense. My questions was for them in the wide receiver position and what they're going to do. Even without Christian Watson, they still looked like a very formidable offense, and Jordan Love looked like he can potentially be that guy for them at the quarterback position. I'm not going to overreact. Like I said, this is week 1, but the way their defense looked and the way they came out offensively, now we're going to have to monitor the Aaron Jones injury if there's anything significant, but that performance that they put on my Bears, I'm pretty impressed with it. Next is the Houston Texans. I mean, the Texans are who we thought they were. C.J. Stroud didn't look terrible, but he still has some growing to do. This team is a very young football team, so I'm not expecting too much from them, but I believe that they will continue to grow as the year comes along. Defensively, they didn't look really too bad against Baltimore. I just think they have to still get it through their growing pains as a young football team. Next is the Indianapolis Colts. This was a little bit tough, but I'm going to put them at a C. I didn't think they looked particularly bad. I didn't think Anthony Richardson looked particularly bad against the Jaguars, who I think is the cream of crop of the division, if we're going to be honest. But the Colts didn't look particularly bad. Kind of like the Texans, they're a young football team. They have a lot of different pieces that they have to ingratiate, and I still think this roster has a lot of growing to do. This roster has a lot of moves to be made still. But they didn't look particularly bad against the Jaguars. So I'm going to put the Colts at a C. Next is the Jacksonville Jaguars themselves. I'm going to put them at an A. Trevor Lawrence still looked great. Travis Etienne still looked good. Josh Allen on the defensive side of the football for them looked good. I think this is going to be a very good football team in 2022. So I'm going to put the Jaguars at an A tier. The Chiefs, I'm still going to put the Chiefs at an S. Mainly, I think they lost that ball game. The Chiefs didn't have that go-to guy at the receiver position or tight end with Kelsey out. And defensively, with Chris Jones being out, that just opened up the middle of the defense and let the Lions run a football effectively against them. I still believe that this is one of the better football teams in the league. Wide receiver position is always going to be something that's questioned until they prove different. Kadarius Toney with the hands made of bricks. But I'm still going to put the Chiefs at the S for now because it's hard to bet against Patrick Mahomes. Next is the Los Angeles Chargers. I'm going to have the Chargers at a B. I still think this is a very good football team. They lost a very close game to the Miami Dolphins. And even though Tyreek Hill went berserk on that defense, which I thought this defense was going to be a lot better, it just ended up not being that. They didn't do necessarily the things that I thought they were going to do against the Miami Dolphins, even though I still picked the Dolphins to win that game. But at the end of the day, it's just not a very good performance by the defense. Offensively, they were still able to score points to get in that ball game, but I just put Chargers at a B for now. Next is the LA Rams. I still have them at a C. It's a very surprising win, though, over the Seattle Seahawks. I will say that was very much surprising that they came in and performed like that and beat the Seattle Seahawks with that offense without Cooper Kupp. That defense lost a lot of pieces over the last year or so. So I'm going to put the Rams at a C for now. I still don't have much higher expectations of them, but really solid performance against the Seahawks. Next is the Raiders. The Raiders are a B-tier team for me. And I think in that game against the Broncos, they did some things well, but I just don't believe they put all the full performance in. So I'm going to put that at a B for the Raiders. Next is the Miami Dolphins. They are an A-tier football team. The way that offense can put up 30 in a hurry, the way that defense can perform, and on top of that, they didn't have Jalen Ramsey. So imagine they get Jalen Ramsey back. I think this is going to be a very formidable football team. So I'm going to put the Dolphins at an A. The Minnesota Vikings, dropping them to a B. To come in and lose that game is very much, I'm not going to say surprising. It was a small bit of an upset. Offense, outside of Justin Jefferson, didn't look necessarily great. Defensively, they were okay, but the things that separated them was the Buccaneers created the turnovers, and they turned the football over, and I think that's what lost in the ball game. So I'm going to put the Vikings at a B, even though I still believe that they're probably a playoff team. It's just they didn't start off right today, Sunday. Next is the New England Patriots. The Patriots are a C. Very close game. Very, very, very close game. And I just believe they played a whole lot better against the Philly team that we were talking about making the Super Bowl and possibly maybe winning the Super Bowl. They kept it very close. That defense played a lot better than what we expected. Mac Jones was not necessarily great. And I think if he had better play, they possibly could have pulled off that upset against the Eagles. So I'm going to put the Patriots at a C for now, but they still have room to grow. The Saints, I'm going to put the Saints at a B. The game was necessarily close, I think, against a team that I thought they were a lot better than in the Tennessee Titans. Derek Carr had a solid performance. Michael Thomas, Chris Olave from The Ohio State University were pretty much very good players for them. That defense created the turnovers. The things that we're used to seeing from the Saints defense over the last couple of years continue. It's just, I think once the offense starts to get it together, once Derek Carr starts to get the rhythm with his receivers, I think this is going to be a very solid team. Next is the New York Giants. Just for getting blown out 40-0, you're going to go to the D tier. And not just for that, I've been saying on the channel, if you guys have watched, Daniel Jones is not it. Daniel Jones is not it. I will continue to say that. Daniel Jones is not the guy. They paid the wrong man. I'm always going to say that. And that defense, I mean, this Giants team just looked terrible. And Daniel Jones is not it. So just for getting shut out 40-0 alone, you're going to a D. Next is the Jets. I'm going to put the Jets in the A tier. Now, it sucks that Aaron Rodgers ended up tearing his Achilles. That absolutely sucks for them. Because even me as a Bears fan, I actually wanted to see how he was going to look with those weapons. And 4 plays in, his Jets season is over. That defense created the havoc, created the turnovers, was able to put some pressure on Josh Allen. Offensively, Zach Wilson came in and did not stake up the joint. He plays solid, and Garrett Wilson from The Ohio State University with that amazing catch in the end zone and the things that he can do. This Jets team is going to be formidable. Buying that they get the good quarterback play that they need from Zach Wilson. It sucks for them that Aaron Rodgers is out for the year, but that defense is just a very, very good defense. Next is the Eagles. I'm still going to put the Eagles at an S, even though they didn't look necessarily great against the New England Patriots. But there is still a lot of pieces to do on the defense. Nakobe Dean, it sucks. He's hurt. Jalen Carter looked very good. That offense didn't look as explosive as we have been accustomed to seeing over the Eagles, especially last year. But I'm still going to have this football team at an S. Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm going to drop them to a C. The 49ers made them look ridiculous. The 49ers made them look ridiculous. Kenny Pickett looked timid. He didn't look great. That defense, and that's one of the better defenses in the NFL, looked exposed against Brock Purdy. So I'm going to put the Steelers there. I'm going to put the Seahawks at a C. No, I'm going to put the Seahawks at a B. I still think they're a better team than what they showed. Now, I think once Geno Smith and that offense starts to get it together, and when defense starts to get incorporated, they'll be fine. But it was not a great loss against the Los Angeles Rams. The San Francisco 49ers, they are not an S tier. That performance on both sides of the football, this team is already booming already. This team is booming already. Christian McCaffrey, we see more and more why they brought him over. Brock Purdy had a very good game. That defense had a very good game. For everyone flying all around the field. And they made Pittsburgh look bad. And this Pittsburgh Steelers team is not a slouch. So the 49ers, S tier for me. The Buccaneers, I'm going to put them at a B tier. That defense is still very solid. Baker Mayfield played a whole lot better than what I thought he was going to do coming into that game. So I'm going to put the Buccaneers at the B tier. Next is the Tennessee Titans. I mean, Ryan Tannehill looked bad. Ryan Tannehill did not look good. And I always said at some point he's going to get replaced. This team, I don't think is a very good football team. Some people may think otherwise. Not a good team. And last but not least, the Washington Commanders. I'm going to put them at a B. Sam Howell didn't look terrible. That defensive line made his presence felt. Even though the Cardinals put up more of a fight than I thought they would have done against them. That offense, I think when everybody gets to clicking and Sam Howell starts to get more of a rhythm, they're going to be a little bit better. But Sam Howell didn't look terrible. And that was a start. So I'm going to put them at a B. But hey, these are my rankings heading into week 2. Leave this video a like, comment your thoughts down below. I'm out. I'll see you guys later. Peace.